might prefer one project, and while as per the IRR, you might be getting recommendation to accept another project. Now, with this, we also find that there are particular situations where this conflict situation comes into picture. First and foremost being when there is a difference in the size of the project which you are comparing. Now, the projects under consideration might have a different initial cash outlay, and because of that, there might be a difference in the ranking of the projects as per NPV and IRR. So there we use the incremental approach for size disparity, and we calculate the incremental NPV and IRR, and we address this problem. So this was already taken up in the last lecture where we discussed this concept. You had two projects, X and Y, and one was having an outlay which was 10 times the other project. So Y was having an initial outlay of 1,60,000, while for X it was 16,000. So all the cash outflows and inflows were taken on incremental basis, and then subsequently NPV and IRR gave the same ranking. The next problem is that of life disparity. Life disparity is when the lives of the project are unequal. So, the two competing projects might be equal or same in all senses. Like you can see the example here, the initial outlay is same, but the lives of the project are different. And then how to address this problem, because this problem may again give rise to a difference in ranking as per NPV and IRR. Now here we have two options. The first option is going for LCM method. You try to equalize the time frame of both the projects, and especially the time frame of the lower duration project, by using the LCM of the lives of both the projects. So example is also given here. Suppose there is a proposal A with the life of 3 years and proposal B with the life of 5 years. Now here, if you have these projects under consideration, then as per the LCM method, we first calculate the lowest common multiple, that comes out to be 15. Now what we do is we take a scenario where this is project A. The timeline right now was that there is an outflow here at 0 point of time, and then 1, 2, 3. These are positive cash inflows. I write the time here. So now what we do to achieve the LCM timeline, at 4th year, we again take an outflow. So we are repeating the project over this 15-year time span, followed by a cash inflow at the end of 5th, 6th, and 7th year. Then again, this project has expired after 7th year. 8th year would be the year of outflow, followed by inflows in 9th, 10th, and 11th year. So here we'll have this extends to cash inflow. Then again, at the end of 12th year, you will have an outflow followed by inflow at the end of 13th, 14th, and finally 15th year. So what you have done, you have repeated the same project over an extended lifetime. With project B, which was having an initial life of 5 years, you will repeat this cycle 3 times to get the duration of 15 years. So this leads to equalization of the lives of the project, and then when you calculate the NPV and IRR, you will get the same result. And this method is not used practically a lot because here we got the LCM 15 years. It is still feasible to calculate NPV and IRR. Say, for example, you have projects which give you a LCM of 25 or 30. Then extending projects over this time span and then calculating the NPV IRR, that becomes quite difficult. So this method is not widely used. What is widely used is the second method, which is mentioned here, which is the equivalent annuity method. So what do we do here is that considering projects with unequal lives, we try to calculate their annual cost or annual benefit, as the case may be, to the firm. And then on annual basis, we compare their cost. The project with a lower cost, equivalent annual cost, which is lowest among all the competing projects, will be accepted. And again, in case of equivalent annual benefit, the project which is giving higher benefit would be accepted. So this method makes the choice easier, and with respect to competing projects, it brings them on the same point. Now this concept involves the reverse of the PVAF concept. Now you can see here, I'll just zoom in. How do we calculate the equivalent annual benefit or equivalent annual cost? For equivalent annual benefit, we first calculate the NPV of the project and divided by PVAF. So the amount of annuity for n years, which has been discounted at rate K here, the nomenclature is used here. K and N. K is for the interest rate or the minimum required rate, and N is the number of years. So we calculate the annualized benefit using this formula, and the project where the net benefit is the highest would be accepted. Similarly, when we are calculating the cost here, we calculate the present value of all the costs that are incurred, and again we are dividing it by PVAF at K% for n years. And wherever for which project we are getting the lower equivalent annualized cost will be selected. So let's not waste time. Let's directly move to a question on equivalent annuity method, and things would make more sense. So here there's a question on your screens. A company has to make a choice between two identical machines, A and B, which have been designed differently but do exactly the same job. Machine A costs 7 lakh 50,000. So initial cash outlay for machine A is 7 lakh 50,000, whereas the initial cash outlay for machine B is 5 lakh. So machine B is basically an economy model of the same working with as machine A. Now machine A would also cost 2 lakh per year to run. So annual cost plus the second additional annual cost is 2 lakh per annum, and time in is 3 years. On machine B, the annual cost of operation is 3 lakh per annum, but the life is 2 years. And you're given if the opportunity cost, that is K, is 9%. How do you solve this question? So one thing to have a look here is that you have one machine with life of 3 years, the other with 2 years. If you go as per the LCM method, you can extend their lives to 6 years by repeating the investment there. In this scenario, what we do, we basically have both the cost here, initial cost and cost of operation. So we are using EAC, which is the equivalent annualized cost method. So we will calculate the equivalent annual cost of both the projects, and we see which is the lower of the two, and we'll accept that machine. Let's start with company A. So initial cash outlay, I take this as 1. Second, I calculate the present value of operating cost. Since you have equal cost for all the years, I will be using PVAF table. 9% for 3 years into 2 lakh here. Also note down the PVAF value because that will be used in the final formula. So 9% for 3 years. Now, when we have a look at the table, this value comes to 2.531. 9% for 3 years is 2.531. So 5,06,200 is the present value of operating cost. So total cost for project A comes to 5,06,200 plus 7,50,000, which gives you 12,56,200. And then you can calculate the equivalent annual cost. This will be 12,56,200 divided by 2.531, and you get this as rupees. Similarly, calculate for project B. So we can see here that it is project B with a lower annual cost that will be preferred over project A. So for project B, you can see that the annual cost to the firm turns out to be lower and hence it will be preferred over project A. Please have a look at the working. If there's any doubt, you may ask. Okay, one correction here. This value, actually, I have taken this with 3 lakh as record. This is 5 lakh. So this is 10 lakh 27,000. To just correct this value, this will be 10 lakh 27,000. Yes, thank you, Dipti. This comes out to be 5 lakh 84,252. Okay, so the initial cost actually was 5 lakh. So equivalent annual cost of B actually is turning out to be higher than that of A. So though claimed that B was an economy model, what we find is that the annual cost of operation of B is higher than A, and hence we prefer machine A. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience there. So finally, when we have to make the choice between the two machines, machine A with a lower annual cost will be preferred over machine B. Okay, one more question from this concept for your practice. Okay, this question, actually it's the same question. By mistake, it has been pasted here twice. You can start solving the question, then we'll discuss the answer. So yes, for project X, the equalized annual benefit for equalized annual cost of X comes to rupees 1,60,450 approximately. Minor difference in your answers, and equivalent annual cost of Y comes out to be 1,77,324. So you can clearly see that here project X with a lower annual cost will be preferred over project Y. 160418. Okay, no issues. Even then, it is lower than that of Y, and we prefer project A over project B. So there, I think the table values which you have used differ, but the overall conclusion is the same. So I hope this is now clear as to how we make the selection of the project when we have unequal lives. Okay, you people can check the values more carefully. Deepti, you check the values there because two of you are getting the same, exactly same values. So I'm writing this in bracket. You can check your table values and then make the required changes. So verdict is the same. Okay, let's move ahead. Last concept in capital budgeting is the concept of capital rationing. So let me first explain the concept and then we move to a question on the same. Now, capital rationing. Rationing is when you have to match the expenses with your budget. So when we do rationing in our household budget, we have expenses which might shoot higher than what is the income, and we try to accommodate the expenses, rank them on the basis of priority, and see the urgent expenses need to be made first, and accordingly we spend the money that we have with us. Now, similar situations are faced by firms also when they have multiple good projects before them. So, by good projects, I mean that there are profitable projects which can be chosen, but because of scarcity of funds, you're not able to make the choice of selecting all of them. Now, had the funds been unlimited, then all these projects, five, six projects that you have before you, they all seem to be profitable, and with unlimited funds, you would have chosen all of them. But now, when the projects have an outlay, total outlay, which is exceeding the budget of the firm, you need to prioritize them. Prioritizing would involve some technique through which you are ranking these projects. Now, the best technique till this point of time which we have done is NPV. But the problem with NPV sets in when the initial outlay of the projects is different. Then, how do you rank the projects? So instead of using an absolute measure, we will be using a relative measure closer to NPV. Can anyone tell me which is the closest method to NPV, which we covered immediately after NPV? Which was that method? Yes, anyone? No one remembers. So we use no, IRR is again a relative method, but not closest to NPV. In terms of wealth maximization, the method that gives you rupee return in rupees for every rupee one of investment. It was the profitability index. Profitability index was present value of cash inflows divided by present value of cash outflows. So it was basically giving the return for every rupee one invested in the project. So in that sense, it is a relative method of making a choice, a relative measure of evaluation. So what do? We choose all the first we select all the projects which have a positive NPV. We then calculate the, so I'm writing the steps just for your understanding here. So we select the projects having positive NPV. Then for these projects, we calculate their profitability index. We calculate PI. We rank these projects on PI, rank them on profitability index, and then start using the projects in such a manner, start investing in such a manner that you, till the time you exhaust the funds available, you add these projects to your kitty. So you start from the first project with rank 1 and you keep adding them until the point you have exhausted all the funds available. You can keep choosing the projects. So let's take one question on capital rationing, and these steps would make more sense then. So here we have in the question itself, you're given 5 projects and you're given that the firm has total funds of 6 lakh rupees. Now you are given the initial investment with present value of cash inflows. So this calculation has already been done. You are also given the NPV here for all the projects. You can clearly see that all the projects have positive NPV. Had all this initial investment been same, you would have started with the projects with the highest NPV. But the problem is that initial outlay is different. So we'll have to use capital rationing here to select the most profitable projects within the budget constraints. So what do we do for project A, B, C, D, and E? We will calculate the profitability index. And then we will rank the projects. So please start solving. Everything is given in the question. For A, it will be 3,30,000 divided by 3 lakh and so on. Start calculating, then we will rank them. So for project A, clearly it is coming out to be 1.1. Similarly, solve for the 4 projects. It's so fast. What are the values coming to? So project B, this is coming to 1.41, 1.08. Thank you, Am. 1.2 and 1.05. We rank the projects. You can clearly see this is 1, 2 will be this one, 2, then 3, then 4 and 5. So we now allot the funds, and this comes to starting with the initial investment of B 50,000 used here. So I am writing the cost 50,000 used here. Then we are still having 5,50,000. Next, for second rank D 3 lakh used here. So remaining, sorry, 2,50,000 used here. So till this point we have used 3 lakh rupees. We still have 3 lakh left, which are then used for project A. So A, B, and D would be our choice of projects. As per the budget constraints, we are choosing A, B, and D. Their total NPV you can calculate 50 and 51 lakh rupees. This will be the highest NPV that can be achieved in this combination. So this is how you address questions on budget constraints and using the capital rationale.